friends. So, I want to talk to you about something that a lot of service based business owners avoid until they absolutely have to deal with it, which is looking at their numbers. And I get it, it can feel overwhelming. You're focused on doing the work, serving your clients, growing your business, and then someone mentions expense tracking or tax prep, and it just feels like, blah. Here's the thing though, understanding your finances doesn't have to be complicated, and it actually makes everything else easier. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to think about your business expenses and what categories might apply to you. Different ways to track your expenses so you can find an approach that actually fits how you work. Why separating your personal and business finances matters, and how to use your numbers to make better decisions, and how to prepare your records so that when you work with a tax professional, you feel confident and organized. By the end, you'll have a clear starting point for understanding your business financially. Quick disclaimer before we dive in, this is general guidance and educational information, so no tax or legal advice. Every business is unique, and I recommend consulting with a tax professional for decisions specific to your situation. So let's get into it. All right, let us start with the basics. What actually counts as a business expense? If you're self-employed or running an LLC, a business expense is basically anything that you spend money on that directly supports your business. It's not personal, it's for your work. Now, here are some common categories that service-based business owners often have. Software and tools, like project management apps, accounting software, design tools, whatever you use to run your business. Education, courses, certification, books, conferences, staying current in your field matters. Contractors, if you hire other people to help you, those costs count. Your home office, if you work from home, part of your rent or mortgage, utilities, and office supplies might apply. And internet and phone, because you probably are using them for your business. Travel, when you go to client meetings, conferences, training. Office supplies and equipment, things you need to do your work. Professional services, like working with a bookkeeper, designer, or a copywriter. Now, here's the important part. I'm giving you common categories to think about and explore, but what actually applies to your business depends on your specific situation, how you work, and how you structure your business. That's where a tax professional comes in. They understand the current rules and what makes sense for your specific situation. They can look at your business and help you understand what you should be tracking and what might be deductible for you. Think of it this way, a tax professional is an investment in making sure you're set up correctly and not leaving money on the table. Okay, so now that you know what kinds of expenses exist, how do you actually track them? There are a few common approaches, and the best one is the one that you'll actually use consistently. So, option one is a simple spreadsheet. Got a little place in my heart for this as a lover of Excel. You can create a spreadsheet with columns for the date, description, category, and amount. Every time you spend money, you log it. It's straightforward, it's free, like if you use Google Sheets, and it works, especially if you're just starting out or you like to keep things simple. The second option is accounting software. Tools like FreshBooks, QuickBooks, Wave, or similar apps do a lot of the work for you. They often connect directly to your bank account, which is nice, so transactions show up automatically. You just organize them into categories. These tools also generate reports that show you the bigger picture of your finances. The trade-off is that they cost a little money per month, but you might find that the time saved and the insights gained are worth it. The real question is, what works for you? If you like hands-on control and simplicity, a spreadsheet might be perfect. If you want automation and detailed reports, accounting software might be worth exploring. Either way, here's the basic routine that works. Once a week, maybe Sunday evening, Monday morning, block 20 or 30 minutes. Download your recent transactions from your bank, organize them into categories, save your receipts, and do a quick review of what you spent or earned. That's it. Consistency beats perfection every time. When you do this weekly, you're never scrambling to remember what happened 6 months ago. You're always current. And honestly, it feels really good to know what's going on with your money. I pick Wednesdays because that's my admin day, so it works for me. Separating finances and understanding your numbers. This one's important, so stick with me. You will find as a service-based owner that it's very helpful to keep your personal and business finances completely separate. And I mean separate accounts, a business bank account and a business credit card if possible. Why? Because mixing personal and business money makes everything harder. You can't see what your business actually made. You can't tell how much you're actually profiting. And if you ever work with a bookkeeper, accountant, or need to apply for a business loan, commingled accounts can create a mess. When you separate your accounts, something shifts. You start to see your business as its own entity, and you start to understand it better. Here's what I mean. Let's say your business brought in $5,000 this month. That sounds great, right? But if you spent $2,000 in software, contractors, and education, your actual profit is $3,000. That's the number that matters, not the revenue, the profit. That's what you're actually taking home to live on and invest back into your business. When you track consistently and separate your accounts, you can see this clearly. And when you can see it, you can make better decisions. Maybe you realize you're spending too much on tools you're not using. Maybe you see that you need to raise your prices. Maybe you understand that hiring help in a certain area would actually free you up to do more billable work. Your numbers tell a story about what's working and what isn't, but you have to be looking at them in order to hear that story. Most accounting software will generate reports for you, a profit and loss statement, an expense summary, things like that. These give you the full picture at a glance. When you get used to reviewing them, they become less intimidating and more useful. Preparing for conversations with tax professionals. At some point, you'll work with a tax professional, whether that's a bookkeeper, accountant, or CPA. And you know what makes that process so much smoother? Being organized. When you show up with your records already organized and categorized, you're showing that you take your business seriously. You're also making their job easier, which often means you'll get better guidance and, bonus, you might spend less money on their time. Here's what tax professionals typically want to see: a summary of your income, how much you brought in from clients, your business expenses organized by category, which is exactly what you've been doing if you've been tracking consistently, receipts for larger purchases or anything that might be questioned, information about your home office if you have one, mileage records if you're claiming travel. Basically, they want to know what came in, what went out, and can you back it up. If you've been tracking your expenses weekly and saving receipts, you're already 90% of the way there. You're not scrambling, you're not stressed. You just hand over organized information and have a conversation about what that means for your specific situation. And that conversation, that's where the real value is. A good tax professional will help you understand what applies to your business, what strategies might make sense for you, and how to set yourself up for success. Okay, let's wrap this up. The big takeaway here is that expense tracking doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. So here is what to do this week. First, choose one tracking approach, spreadsheet or software, and set it up. Just pick one. You can always change it later, but starting is what matters. Honestly, I started with a spreadsheet. Step 2 is block a weekly money date on your calendar. Treat it like any other important meeting, 20 or 30 minutes once a week to review your numbers. Step 3 is consider opening a separate business bank account if you haven't already. It's one of the simplest ways to gain clarity about your business. And in fact, I recommend that you definitely do this step. If this resonated with you and you want to keep getting practical, real talk guidance on building systems and growing your business, I'd love for you to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss new videos. I'm sharing tips and strategies regularly, and I want you to be a part of that conversation. When you understand your finances, you feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, your business grows in a way that actually serves you and supports the lifestyle that you want. That's what all of this is about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.